children at any given time on the property. That was an interpretation that the staff had given the applicant more than a year ago before this application was pending, and the school believed it was operating in compliance. If you have 157 children enrolled, no more than 60 are on property at any given time. I appreciate, and the applicant does as well, that that is a difficult thing to enforce from the city's perspective, and that there's not a maximum number of children on the property at any given, or not just at any given time, period, allowed. We have proposed maximum enrollment numbers. We have proposed them at a maximum total of 200 students. This is not at any given time. This is 200 students Monday through Friday. We have broken it out by age group with a maximum of 130 students proposed up through the pre-K, a maximum of 70 students from a kindergarten through a first grade, and a maximum of 50 students that are between the ages of 3 and 12 on Saturday. And we've provided those with the staff. We also, since we were last before you, have met both with members of the mayor and city council, also with members of the community, and we continue to put forth conditions that we hope will allow the city to be comfortable with its ability to enforce us, with our neighbors' understanding of what exactly it is that we do and how we operate. And I just wanted to let you hear that little bit of flavor. The zoning ordinance, as you all know, identifies a number of criteria for you and the mayor and city council to consider when adopting a use permit. And I'm just going to hit a few because they came up before you. One of the concerns is whether or not the use is consistent with comprehensive land use plan or an economic redevelopment or development revitalization plan. With respect to the school use of the property, the state of Georgia classifies this use, tabula rasa, as a private school. Private schools, as defined in your ordinance, are an educational use having a curriculum at least equal to that of a public school, but not operated by Fulton County. Private schools, under your ordinance, are educational or institutional. They are not commercial. They are specifically allowed by use permit in the R1 district. And furthermore, your comprehensive plan in Table 6.1 confirms it is appropriate to have some public, institutional, and other uses in protected neighborhood. It also states that quality public and private schools are an important component of the fabric and attributes of a successful community. In addition to their role of education of young people, their location and integration into the community can position them as important resources, not only for their neighborhoods, but for the community at large. And I point this out just so you know, we are considering what your comprehensive land use plan says. This is a good use of an existing church building that's otherwise empty during the week. I know there have been traffic concerns, which you discussed with Mr. Moore. As part of our proposed conditions, which we will be presenting to you, hopefully, if you defer this request, we are proposing staggered drop-off times and pickup times for children. We are limiting the number of children who are there in the afternoon to no more than 26 after 2:30 in the afternoon, so that at most there will be 26 being picked up at 5 o'clock to attempt to alleviate traffic concerns on Riverside Drive. Certainly that's more than what is currently approved under the existing, or I'm sorry, less than what's currently allowed under the existing use permit. With that, I want to urge you that feel free to ask me any questions. I'm happy to answer them. We do support the deferral. It is driven by a desire to notice the private school use of the property. Certainly the daycare part of the property, which is the city and the state disagree as to sort of what is daycare, but the children who are younger than kindergarten and younger are considered daycare under the city's ordinance. That part has been advertised properly before you, as well as the 2,000 square foot expansion to the church building. So if you would like to act on it and not defer those portions, we certainly request your recommendation of approval. With that said, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else speaking in support of this application? All right. Am I reading that right? Once. Okay. All right. Anybody speaking in opposition to the application?
Mr. Chair, I have one comment card that needs to be read into the record.
All right.
Sarah E. 640 Manor, Sandy Springs. Her comment is, our neighborhood is against this application and in light of recent danger to avoid detection of Georgia state rules closed to children attending this school, we hope the planning commission will take this into account.
Would you repeat that last sentence?
Okay. To avoid detection of Georgia state rules posed to children attending this school, we hope the planning commission will take this into account.
I'm not sure I understand exactly what that means, and I'm not sure my colleagues do either. Do we misunderstand what you're saying? To avoid detection?
Dangers posed to them. Okay, it's incomplete. To avoid detection of dangers was missing. Of Georgia state rules posed to children attending this school, we hope the planning commission will take this into account.
We've tried 3 times for me. I'm not sure I get it, but we'll move on. I'm sorry, keep it.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Ungeschick. I live at 5745 Riverside Drive, which is 3 houses away from the church. I'm here to speak in opposition. I'm also a business owner in the city of Sandy Springs. I'm here in opposition to this as not as a matter of technical competency about traffic and wastewater and all those other kind of things, but as a neighbor and as a trusting neighbor. One of the things that has greatly disturbed my wife and me concerning this whole issue was a matter of trust. When I was in grade school a very long time ago, the nuns kept trying to talk about how many angels danced on the head of a pin and go through all of that. And it seems like the definition of 60 falls into that category. And we've heard a very eloquent presentation by representatives of the applicant tonight about all the things they're going to go through, but in fact, in the past, they have promised to do things that in fact they found no trouble at all violating at their whim. When it pleased them, they did what they wanted to do and then came up with a definition later. That's not a trusting neighbor to me, and that's my big fear. So you can pass all your use permits, you've passed them before, and we get different results. The second thing that concerns me on trust is until the applicant put in new requests, the city didn't know that there was 157 students there. So if in fact you agree to 200 students, how do you know that there won't be 300 within 6 months or 2 years or whatever? There doesn't seem to be a process in place that gives me a lot of confidence that a neighbor 3 doors away is going to follow your use permits, regardless of what is said, because there is no track record for that. As far as compliance goes, there is an email, and I can't verify the details, but there is an email from a parent of a child at school that talked about the applicant recently putting 3 kids in a car and driving them away from the grounds because the school had a surprise audit and they had more than 60 kids there. Now, I don't know whether there's legal action going to follow that up or not. I was not there. I can't verify it. I can only tell you the email. You may have seen it. The email is floating around. This is a parent of one of the children in the school, which is what the email has since withdrawn from school. So you get into the whole issue of trust. How do we know that, in fact, this school will start abiding by the rules that you pass when they have never done so in the past? My recommendation is put them back to the 60 and let them live there for a couple of years, and then if they can do that and show that, then let them come back again at that time, and let's have a conversation at that time. Let's have them show good faith first before we give them another opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further speakers in opposition? Count 1, 2.
Hi, my name is Barbara Malone. I live at 240 Colwood Way, Sandy Springs. I'm here on behalf of the